Welcome, everyone. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Raheen Ashimi Show. Welcome to another episode of the Raheen Ashimi Show. Got a great broadcast lineup for you this afternoon. We're talking about how much money is enough money. How much money is enough money? Is there any such animal? Does that even exist? How much money is enough money? We got a great panel here. We're going to talk about it, and they're going to educate us as to what they think about this thing. I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I feel about it as well. But we're going to go around right now and introduce everybody. Ladies are always first, even though she's not on the video screen with us. Ladies are always first. Young lady, Shannon, tell everybody who you are and where you're hailing from.
Hello, I am Shannon. I am by way of California, so coming to you live from outside, but thank you for being here and looking forward to this conversation.
Absolutely. Rodney, tell everybody who you are, brother, and where you're hailing from.
Rodney Smith, hailing from Decula, Georgia, out here by way of Stamford, Connecticut.
Big time Decula. Boy, that's you don't sleep on Decula. I'm gonna tell you.
Look, if it don't happen here, don't happen nowhere in America.
Exactly. Curtis, tell everybody what's your name and where you're hailing from, brother.
This is Kurt, hailing from Charm City, Maryland, Baltimore City Live. You know,
yes.
We doing it. We doing it, baby.
Absolutely. We're talking today, and what we're talking about today is how much money is enough money. Now, I'm gonna preface it by saying you got people like you got people like Oprah, you got people like Bezos, you got people like what's the guy name with Microsoft? What's the brother name for Microsoft? Gates, and all these individuals, man, that have all this money, yet they continue to go out there and work. And people even say Tyler Perry, you know, he go out there and he work and continue to work to make more money. But how much money, Rodney? How much money is enough money? Is there any such animal?
Well, you know, the thing is, money is nothing but a promissory note, a figment of our imagination. Mm-hmm. And what happens is it becomes a system of measurement where we measure our self-worth. In reality, it's an illusion. However, the technical term of money is it is a conduit to further and benefit your lifestyle and those around you. As long as you keep it in that perspective, it's a commodity, you're fine. But many people have used it for their God, pretty much. And that's when they fall into traps.
So wow.
Money's a promissory note. It's an illusion. It's not real.
Okay. But and I can understand exactly what you're saying, but there's so many people that will say, man, yeah, you can say what you want to say about it, man, but I could buy all the stuff I want to buy with that money. Yeah. And so you got so many people that's so caught up, and money becomes their slave master. Money becomes their slave master. Shannon, what do you say about that? How much money is enough money?
Well, kind of going with the gentleman here as far as how much money is enough money. You know, it depends on how you're looking at it. When you're looking at legacy and when you're looking at, you know, others who have, you know, dominated this financial arena, you know, there's not enough money. You know, if you're looking at it for, you know, generations to come, you know, there is not. I mean, you always got to be able to keep it moving because you're going to continuously be here and your offspring and family is going to be there. So that's really the case of it, is when does that time come when you want things to stop for your family?
But if somebody like Oprah, Bezos, Gates, and people that have all that, Tyler Perry, if you will, that have all that money, will they really ever run out? Michael Jordan, will he ever really run out of money, Shannon? I think we might.
Sorry about that. You know, can you repeat that question?
If you have people like Oprah, Bezos, Michael Jordan, if you will, and Bill Gates, people that have all that money, will they ever really run out of money?
No, they won't. And you know, and I know you didn't mention these, but you got Rockefellers, you got the Fords, you got all of those folks who have traditionally have had wealth, and they still are wealthy. They continuously figure out ways to keep generating this revenue that they have done for generations to come. So if the ones that you just named are continuing to generate this revenue so that they're continuously growing and getting to different industries, then no, they won't.
Wow.
And they shouldn't.
So should they be content with the amount of money that they have? because if they have enough right now where they'll never run out. And let me go to Curtis. Curtis, if they have all the money right now, millions and billions of dollars, they'll never run out of money in their lifetime, their children or their children's lifetime. Should they be content, Curtis?
Yeah, they should. They should be content. I mean, you know, you got all this money. What need is there? Honestly, what? Explain to me what the need is to have more. You can't. I mean, what? What? Where you gonna spend it? Spend it on? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what do you get somebody who's a millionaire? What do you get them for a president?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, man, you know, the Bible says that money, the love of money, is the root to all evil, and it is so true. It is so true. It is beyond real. Like, the love of money is the root to all evil, and that's just what it is. Like, when you think about it, you think about it like this: what have those people done to amass all this money and to keep amassing all this money?
Yeah.
Who have you who have you stepped on? Who have you looked over? Remain silent, because if you opened your mouth, your bag would stop. I think about stuff like that, brother.
Go ahead. You were gonna say something, Rodney.
Yeah, I mean, it's really ironic that we talk about this, because if you go back to the founding of the monetary system and banks, you look at the Rothschilds, how the father groomed his sons into banking. When they basically took over the world with their banking, he had 5 sons, if I'm not mistaken, 4 or 5 sons, where he sent out to different parts of the world and instituted the banking system, whereby their family still have generational wealth. There was another family called the Montes, whatever, same time period. Their family went bankrupt over in Italy. They funded the Vatican and funded a few other things. And the question becomes basically, people substitute money for the moral values. I look at a classic example right now of 50 cents. 50 cents he bought Mike Tyson's home in Fairfield, Connecticut, which was less than 15 miles from where I grew up. And he never once stepped foot in the house. He stepped foot in the house one time, spent millions of dollars. I think it was $7 to $14 million he spent for the house. Never actually set foot in the house. All right. He ended up selling it at a loss, because basically it was another house that he had. And so my question becomes, even when I was in the mortgage industry, I mean, let's face it, how many bathrooms can you use? How many beds can you sleep in?
Yeah, exactly.
When is enough enough?
And that's my question.
Yeah, it becomes a psychological issue at that point of conquer. That's what Putin is going through right now. Putin's idea, I mean, he's got $300 billion, and he's still conquering. So it's not a function of money. It's a function of greed. That's what it is. Function of power. So money, again, getting back to my original point, money is a monetary situation used to measure acquisition of properties, acquisition of people. People can be bought. So now, how much money you have, you can be bought. You can buy your friends, you can buy a house, you can buy whatever. You know what I mean? But does that build character? The young lady talked about family legacy. I've seen a bunch of people with develop family legacies and have it squandered in 2 generations. So I mean, it's all about a mindset. You there?
Look like he done froze up, right?
I guess I shocked him, huh?
Yeah.
That's when the brother don't want to hear it. He might have to reboot, huh?
Can you hear me, Rod?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm going to call on the phone and find out what happened.
He
Oh, here you
coming
go.
back in now. Yeah, that's
All right.
old. That's old money.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, that's the money
I
we
got
try to
kicked
get
out,
you.
gentlemen.
I thought I shot.
Exactly.
I saw your
I
face
got
froze
kicked.
up. I saw your face froze up. I thought I shot you.
No. I got kicked out there, man. But if that happened, y'all just keep the conversation going. I'll definitely be right back. Y'all just keep the conversation going for me. And what y'all actually still hear you on the other side here. I could definitely still hear what y'all was saying. And you said right, you something from generation to generation, and how that thing how they continue to build from generation to generation. That's absolutely true. But if that be the case, and y'all also said that they would never run out of money. And Curtis, when is a person content? When is a person content, or are they ever content?
There are 2 participants in the conference. Please announce yourself.
Sorry about that, Curtis. Go ahead, brother. Shannon, we back. Curtis, you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Raheen.
Yes, I'm here.
I can't tell you, man. You might be able to might want to ask somebody else because I can't tell you because the world we in
Mm-hmm.
right now does not show any content for um for uh for having too much money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're not showing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, how much of it, Shannon? Let me ask you this question: if we're never content, if a person is never really content, how much of it is drive, motivation, and how much of it is just plain and simple greed? How much of it is it?
You see, that goes with the context that we're talking. If it was the point of purchasing things, money is not a means of just purchasing when it gets to that point. This
Mm-hmm.
is a means of change. And it's about how you can utilize your finances to be able to change things, as you've seen the Gates Foundation. All of these different folks who have money beyond like craziness, they've moved beyond buying cars and
Mm-hmm.
trucks, and homes. They've moved to the point of changing society,
Yes.
changing the world.
Mm-hmm.
They're looking at how they can make their legacy and leave their legacy on changing how people live.
Mm-hmm.
So when it gets to the point of, when is enough, that's looking at the perspective that you're using money to buy cars and land and, diamonds. That's
Mm-hmm.
beyond where they are. They're at a point of where they're looking on how to change the world and how
Mm-hmm.
to change the world to whatever better or worse or whatever it is that they're thinking they want to do. But
Mm-hmm.
that's what money is being used for. Influence. It's
Yeah.
for change and purpose. And that's, so it's like if you don't want to change and you don't want to have things, change for the better, then you will be limited.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want to limit on it. If you want your society to be better, you want communities to be better, you want things to be better, your influence and having money to be able to make these influence and impact, then that's the limit. So you got to get beyond purchasing
Mm-hmm.
items and things.
That's
That's not what the money is for no more.
exactly. How much,
Question.
right? How much responsibility comes with that, Rodney?
Let me piggyback on what she was saying because she's totally right. The problem is that people who search for diamonds and pearls and jewels and things like that are not the highest people on the food chain in terms of bettering society.
Mm-hmm.
They're out, like you said earlier, they're out to mold society, and we see
Mm-hmm.
where society is going at this point.
Yes.
Whenever you have a Republican Party that's funded and doing the kind of stuff that they're doing, not forget policy, but I mean, you look at people like Bill Gates, who's going over to Africa to sterilize black folks. There's a whole litany of things that people are using their money for to shape them. Unfortunately, when you have moral character, you're not looking in that direction. Most people with moral character are not looking at amassing wealth. They're looking at
Mm-hmm.
spiritual wealth. They're looking at spiritual development. People that are amassing wealth are looking to do most for 80% of them are looking for destruction. If you
Mm-hmm.
look at the what was it called, that the iron back in the 30s and 40s when the iron industry developed, the Vanderbilts and the Carnegies and those guys, they were just nasty folks. And then only when they got to a certain point in life, they realized their mortality. Then they wanted to start putting up museums and artifacts and helping folks. After they realized, okay, no matter how much money I got, I'm still dead.
Yeah.
Then they want to do the right thing. But when they're amassing the wealth, I mean, if you look at the union busting they did back there, the Carnegies did. If you look at all the stuff they did, if you look through the history in terms of developing American industry and infrastructure, if you look at slavery, all that was about money. It wasn't about people doing the altruistic thing, doing the right thing. It was about amassing the wealth. And then when I get enough money, then I'll repent and I'll give some to the church or whatever I got to do. And I'll develop some programs after I know I'm going to die. So, I mean, unfortunately, people that are going after the money are not people for the best interests of society at first. That's my take on it. You still there? Curtis, you there? Shannon, are you there?
Okay, it must be something going on with the connection today, right there. Going on with it, man. It keep bouncing me out, and people are jumping all over the place, man. So we're gonna keep this thing going on. Shannon, are you there? I think.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah, is something going on with the system? It must be something going on with the system as a whole. Because it keep bouncing me out, and the system is crazy. It's okay. Maybe it just don't want us to talk about money. How about that? but
It's the Illuminati, man. It's the Illuminati.
exactly. But Shannon, let me ask you this. People say that money is power. Money is power, and when you have that certain amount of money, you have a certain amount of power. But how much responsibility goes with that money, Shannon?
Well, there's a lot of responsibility. You said power, but it's not more like influence. I mean, that's just the whole thing when in the business structure, when you look at power and authority, you can have the power, but you may not necessarily have the authority to do things. So everyone who has money can make influence and impact. So you want to keep that in mind too. So it's not just a point of finding stuff money. You do have to have authority.
Yeah.
And if you don't have them, then you're seen as reckless. Then they will shut you down.
That's good.
So as far as the responsibility, yes, there is a big responsibility if you are some of the selected that have the money, that do have that power, but also authority and an influence. And there is a responsibility with that to be, with due diligence as well as, empathy and everything, and understanding the fact that you do have that, that power or authority, but influence is really big. You can have influence and not necessarily have money.
That's good. That's good. Rodney, what do you say to that? Now, Rodney, let me ask you this question. You wake up tomorrow morning and poof, all of a sudden, $20 million has been deposited into your account. Now you're a millionaire 20 times over.
I'm going on vacation.
how
see you.
how would that change you? How would that change you, or would it change you at all?
You know, I've always had this philosophy in life: is that money will only bring out what's already there. If I'm a jerk, broke, I'm gonna be a jerk with money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, the thing we have to be careful about is that the young lady alluded to is that $20 million in today's standard is really not a lot of money. You got to understand, when I was coming up, you know, I'm not going to tell my age. God said it was $1 million, it was a big deal. Now you can have $6-7 million. It doesn't mean anything anymore. They're in the billions now.
Yeah.
So with that being said, everything is relative. Yes, it would change my life. Now the question would be, like the young lady said earlier, which I totally agree. Then I would be into legacy building in terms of my son, in terms of his son. That's my first. You know, I always bring up the theory of Maslow's theory of hierarchy. My whole thing would be first, make sure my wife and I are set, make sure my children are set, make sure my church is set. You know what I mean? And then go on to do philanthropy. Because at the end of the day, like the old saying goes in the airport, when you get on a plane, they say when the oxygen mask drops, you cover yourself first, because you can't help nobody else. You can't help nobody else if you gasping for air.
Yeah.
So my thing is that you make those immediately around you as whole as you can make them before you can worry about community. Because what I found with community, I hate to say it, especially our community, you can give your last, and it ain't enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
So you have to pick your ministry, pick your battle, pick your foundations, pick whatever it is, and ride it out. But at the end of the day, you got to take care of self and family first before you can take care of church and community and politics. All that is, you know.
That's good. That's good. Now, Shannon, I had a friend of mine that said, and I said this at the beginning of the broadcast, givers have to set limitations because takers don't have any. How do you know? How do you know when you've given enough? And this person is now, Shannon, they're trying to milk you and get everything they could get out of you. How do you know when it's enough?
Well, I mean, you know what that is. If it's to a point where you've given and supported where they should be functionally able to do it, but they're still finding reasons not to take that leap. When you've helped someone where you've given them all the standards and foundations of things, even if they have, like, you know, some emotional things that they need to address, but you've given it and provided that, but they still find ways that they're not able to act on what it is that they said they want to do or what they should do, then at that point you're no longer needed. And you have to understand that you're no longer needed because you cannot help them. You're not in a position to do that. So you have to also take a point of understanding what you're doing and how you're giving, and you're not just giving to give.
Wow. How much is enough? Right now, you've given, you've helped, you've assisted them in pretty much everything they wanted to do. How do you draw that line? When do you say, okay, well, I've given you enough? Go ahead.
It's just simple. It's simple. What happens is that there are markers. There are markers along the way. Now, a lot of times we refuse to accept the markers, but they're there. If I say to you, brother, I see you're in need of a car. All right, I buy you a car, but you don't change your oil. You got bald tires. You know what I mean? There's no insurance on the vehicle. That's enough. That tells me right there that this relationship has gone to its point. Now, I hate to use scriptural stuff. Well, maybe I need to.
Yeah.
Everywhere in the Bible that I've noticed that a miracle had occurred, a person had to participate in order to receive that miracle. All right. The guy that got dropped down in the bed from the ceiling, his friends had to help him out. His friends helped him, and they participated. Okay. The woman who touched Christ's garment, she had to reach out. The lady at the well. What I'm saying, everything biblically tells you that you have to make an effort. Again, the biblical principle says if they don't receive you, kick the dust off your feet and keep it moving. My thing is, people will tell you in good conscience who they are. Because like I said, if you keep giving, that means you're a sucker.
Yeah.
That's what it means. My point is, people will tell you, if I give you $100 and you say, I'm going to take care of my family's mortgage on their house. I give you $2,000. And I ask you a week later, did you take care of the mortgage? Oh man, I had something more important to do. That tells me what's important to you.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
So I'm not going to give you any more money, not based on that argument. So we know the markers. It's just that, do we want to accept it? You know what I mean?
Wow. That's good. But Shannon, people say all the time, and we've all heard this. Money, man, that money just changed you. And Rodney said earlier that no, it just enhanced the nasty person that you probably was already being broke. It just enhanced it. So does money change people, Shannon?
Sorry, I have to agree with Rodney. It's not a point of change. It's just, it could be just submerged, or it hasn't had the opportunity to show itself. You do have people where they'll say that money's changed. It's not that. Those are people who have sort of like a disposition about themselves. The fact that you have it, you're not doing the same things. And if we want to put the word on it, call it change. No, it's just that it redefines what your priorities are. You don't do the same things because you have to retain it, or you're looking to build it. So in order to build it, you're going to have to funnel it in a different direction, where you can't funnel it over here where you used to be funneling your little bit of money you did have. Now you're looking on a bigger scale, and you need to take it and do this. So you can't entertain those things anymore because you're trying to make sure you can maintain it and keep it moving. So yes, if I can't come to the Friday barbecue, then because I'm over here building this. So if that's a change, yeah, it's a change, but it is a change of a refocusing and redistribution of your attention. So that's how I see it.
That's good. That's good. Rodney, you was about to say something, brother.
Yeah. Let me tell you, see, here's what I'm saying. In life, there are so many examples of what we're talking about till it's pathetic. You look at Michael Vick. You look at the contemporary Young Thug. These guys have money. What it did not change is their mindset. They did not change. See, here's what happens. If I'm a multimillionaire, why am I hanging out with a guy on welfare? Right?
Wow.
Why, if I'm a multi-million platinum rapper, why am I hanging out with street thugs? Because at the end of the day, yes, I have to change because my status has changed. When I'm sitting on $3 or $4 million in my account, I'm not the same person I was before I got the money. I could go down to Burger King and cut up and act like a fool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I can do all kinds of crazy stuff if I'm broke. You know what I mean? I tell people, when I was coming up, I always told people, I said, look, the classic example is Mike Tyson. People were real critical on Mike Tyson when he was coming up. I said, man, I can't blame Mike. If somebody gave me $3 million, hell, I might be a fool too. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I mean, so at the end of the day, we have to understand, okay, we're in a different social or different financial demographic than we were before. We have to hang out at the country clubs. We have to hang out with people with money. We can't hang out in Magic City. We need to be at the country club where people are making money. You know what I'm saying? So we have to make that. When you get that money, you have to make the shift.
Okay.
That's the bottom line.
Okay, we got a caller, but I got something I want to talk about. Let me go to the caller first. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, this is BJ Murphy in Charlotte. How you doing there, brother?
Oh, you say BJ?
Yes, sir.
Hey, BJ, how you doing, sir?
Man, I'm doing great, man. Enjoying your conversation on this Sunday.
Good deal. Good to have you, man. Definitely good to have you. What's on your heart right now? How do you feel about this, man? Money. We're talking about money.
Yeah, that's a problem in the Black community, man. We chasing this money, man. We chasing it. And I was taught, don't run after money, go and be sincere and help the people. Then God will put money in your pocket, It's like the intention of what we're doing things for money, and we're doing things at the expense of our people, get somebody's social security number and then, turn it in, get this money, and their condition has not improved, but you are enriching yourself. You're getting, paid, you coming up at the expense of your people, man. And so, I always like to tell people, man, don't just do what's right. And the money will come. God knows you need money.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Do what's right, and then the money will come. But we don't want to do that because it's like, I understand, the situation where we all need money, but I believe that God is the possessor of power over everything. I mean, who can give you a bigger check than him?
Come on, exactly. You got so many. I say this all the time, man. And I love what you said, BJ. I say this all the time. God will provide for the bird in the nest in the tree, but he's not gonna drop it. But he's not gonna drop it in the nest. And so, like Rodney said earlier, we have to. Prayer without works is dead, is what they say, man. And so we could pray for money all day long and say, well, I'm gonna sit here, I'm gonna pray for this money, and I'm gonna sit here and wait for God to give me that money. Okay, that's one thing, brother. But have you ever thought about maybe going and get a job? How you ever thought about going, trying to, do something, man? And, what kind of talent, what kind of skills do you have, man? Because, it's one thing to say that, the prayer is good. I love prayer. I love talking to my father, but at the same time, my father gonna tell me, look here, I'm gonna feed you. I'm putting all this stuff out here. I'm not gonna go gather it up for you and drop it in your nest and let you just sit there and be lazy and do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that's right.
We got to do something.
That faith without works is dead.
Absolutely.
You gotta work, man. People don't want to work hard anymore,
Exactly. Shannon, what do you say to that, man? I agree with the prayer part about it. I love prayer, and I love to have the opportunity to talk to my father when things are going good or bad. But at the same time, I can't just say I'm gonna pray and I'm gonna sit here because I know God's gonna give it to me. Woo! He's gonna give it to me. Shannon, am I being a fool?
Well, not necessarily being a fool. You're just underestimating your abilities.
Okay.
Politically correct. Yeah, she's politically correct.
She got such a beautiful heart, y'all. She got,
You just
Bless her
underestimate your
heart.
abilities because, but as it says, faith without works is dead. And God has always told us, and even people have said you gotta do some things. You gotta put forth an effort. You gotta show some intentionality on what it is that you're doing. So if you don't have a plan, then you plan to fail.
Yes.
So we want to make sure that people have that also. So you got to do something. You got to at least open up the door.
Exactly. Go ahead, Rodney. I know you got something on this one, brother.
Yeah, I do have some. I got a lot of stuff, but here's what I want to unpack right now. We have to understand the origin of this country. They came over from Europe. They took the folks out of the jails. They came over to colonize the country. It's about that money. It's about that money. Other folks are about the spirituality. What happens is you're trying to put a square peg in a round hole. The two are not mutually accessible to each other. You can't be about greed and be about your spiritualness. And we as a people we were doing good when we were spiritual. We didn't have all the material stuff, but we had morals and values. The new generation now is chasing that money with no values and no character. So the question becomes, which master do we serve? It says in the book, you can't serve two masters. Either you're going to be a financial success and you're going to dog folks capitalism, you're going to take advantage of folks, or you're going to do the right thing.
Now, Rodney, there's a lot of people out here that's practicing in this day and time, in this era, their prophetic ministry. God's gonna give you $10 million, and I can see it in your future. I can see it.
But give you 10-15% first.
But that's what the church, and y'all know I love the church. I'm certainly not talking against or about the church in a negative way, but at the same time, I don't necessarily agree with this whole prophetic memory thing that we're going through right now, thinking that God is going to provide all this stuff for you. God is going to provide all this stuff for you. Just keep believing, brother. Just keep believing. God, I can see it in your future. God's going to give you $10 million. Oh, come on, man.
No, but here's one thing, brother. You got to understand. You got to understand this. You look at people like Oprah and look at people that really not that are really not into the church, so to speak, but they understand the principle of giving.
Yes.
The law of reciprocity. They understand that the world has got that concept down. They don't mind donating to certain causes and giving money to certain people because they know in the end that karma is coming back to them.
Yeah.
They understand that process. Now it's the other side they don't get. And we go, church folks, we go to the other extreme, as you said earlier. We're gonna do our right thing. We're gonna give our pastor the 10 or 15%. We're gonna go to church every day. We're not gonna go do any overtime because that's of the devil. You know what I mean? All the other good stuff. And meanwhile, our rent and mortgages due, and we sitting around praying on the first. Right? So I'm saying to you that the world has got the biblical principles down, And we, you know, again, works without prayer without works is dead.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
want to pray all the time, but those other folks understand the principle, the law of reciprocity. Whatever energy you put out, you get back.
Yeah,
And that's
exactly.
why that's why they get what they get, because they use biblical principles.
BJ, prophetic ministry. This prophetic ministry, I can see that God bless you with $10 million, brother. You just don't worry about going to work, because that job ain't gonna provide nothing for you. God is gonna provide it for you. You ain't gotta go to work.
I heard something. I wrote this down, man. I was driving my car. I wrote this down, and I can't remember who said this, but it said a lot of us live like we are waiting for the end to show up instead of being the cause of how it will end.
Wow.
And you know, you talk to my brother just a moment ago. He's talking about the law of cause and effect is real, and that's what white folks understand. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they see the moon. We say how pretty it is, and then they say I'm going up there. They talk about using moon dust to grow crops now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're down to try to pay rent. So I mean, it's like we really have to think about what we really want. And we the original people of the planet. God is with us. You know what I'm saying? All we got to do, our number one job as Black people is we got to surrender to do God's will, and then our lives will improve. Now I know we talk a lot of spiritual talk. This is a spiritual show.
Yes.
And that the solution to our problem is spiritual, man. Look how we slaughtering each other out on the street. We killing each other, man. We have become, just out of our minds. We have become our own worst enemy. And this generation now, the 13, 14, 15, 16-year-olds are the ones carrying the guns. And I'm a 57-year-old Black man. I got to be I got to be a parent, to these brothers and not worry about if they're going to shoot me or not.
Wow.
We gotta raise these people, man, before we check out of here. Because like our parents did, we were raised good, man. Everybody on this phone was raised by some great parents, and we have failed in trying to get this new generation. They are powerful people. Oh my God! I mean, this is like the smartest, most boldest generation that we've ever produced, I believe, because I witness it when I'm talking to them. I'm just amazed at their intellect, but they're just not guided right. They need guidance.
Shannon, with that being said, and our topic today, we're talking about money. How much this young generation that we're speaking of right now, only their main concept, their main idea, their main focal point is to get, quote unquote, that bag.
Right.
Shannon, are they putting too much emphasis on the bag and not enough emphasis on family and doing the right thing and being typically being good people? Shannon, what do you say to that?
Yeah, I would agree. I believe this generation, and the gentleman said it, that we failed them because of the fact that we, for most of us, we were coming up during the crack era. These kids that we have now are in their 30s. I have children that's, a daughter that's 30, 36, 37. So they came up during that time, and we did what we could to prevent them from having to suffer or deal with things or whatever. But what we also did is that we prevented them from having lacking the structural things that they need to persevere and to push through. If something happened, they break and crumble.
Yeah.
Because they've been protected and they don't know, they're not resilient. They don't have the resiliency of doing things. So when we talk about the bag, they do see and understand that they need to get money to do things. But the fact of it is that they lose it because they don't have the foundational things and the perseverance to say, oh, I lost it, but I need to know how to get up and go get it. Our family and our parents, they struggled. They knew what it was like. If you didn't have the money, you knew how to get out there and make something in the house and go out there and do it. These kids don't. If it doesn't come, they don't get it. They sit there, they starve, they perish. And that's what I see with a lot of this generation. Not all of them, but a lot of them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, Rodney, if all the electricity would have shut down, and we had to go back to the day of old, and we had to pretty much live off the land, hunting, fishing, growing our own gardens. This young generation, would they starve to death almost?
They probably take their own guns and shoot themselves in the head. But
Wow.
no, but I mean for real. I was sitting as the young lady was talking. I was sitting back thinking about. I'm probably the oldest one on this panel at this point. I saw the transition back in the '80s when the government first started putting in the '70s putting people on welfare. The first thing is like the Claudine movie. Can't have the man in the house. If they come do the inspection and find a man's shoes in the house or in the closet, they cut them off. Saw that transition. Then I saw the transition in the mid '80s. They got rid of the trades in the high schools. All right, everybody had to go to college. In the mid '80s, you found the only people getting corporate jobs were black women. All right, most of them getting these jobs. You know, we're talking about back then. They were probably talking about $60,000-$70,000 a year.
Yeah.
When their own man was working in a factory, whatever, probably making $23,000 a year. That was the duration of the family. And then the cocaine epidemic came back in the early '90s. Everybody was into the free love, into the self thing. And then they decided that, okay, the rap music, remember when rap music first came out, Sugar Hill Gang, everybody was, lovely rap music.
Yeah.
They started funding the gangster rap and glorifying the dollars, glorifying the strip clubs, glorifying all the cars and the jewelry. And so they told the black men that basically weren't really making any economic inroads, that that's your way to make money. And then now going back to today, most men are measured by the gold chains that they wear, the dollars that they show on Facebook, and all the women they have, all the immediate stuff.
Yes.
So what I'm saying to you is that because when I was growing up, you had the doctors and the lawyers and the grandma down the street. I could walk from one block. If I did something in school, by the time I got home, several people in the neighborhood knew what I did already. And I was dealt with. All right, we had community. Now we focused on getting the dollars. And I gave you that lineages to show you how the transition occurred. Now it's like every man for himself, get that dollar. Okay. And so we have bought into the hook, line, and sinker. So now, getting back to your original question, when I was in the '80s or whatever, my life went out. It didn't bother me none. I got some candles, man. We sat on the deck. You know what I mean? We walked the streets in the dark. Brothers pull their cars up to the basketball hoops, turn on the lights, and we play basketball all night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We found a way to make it work. And like I said, I've got a 21-year-old, and you take his phone away from him, man, he's ready to commit suicide. You know what I mean? So no, can they cope? Wow. No, they can't cope. You know, they lack a basic thing, and I think I told you before. I was a bail bondsman for 4 years, and what most young people lack is conflict resolution, dealing with stress and pressures. They don't have it. They figure the money's going to buy them out of whatever situation they're in.
Wow.
There goes the problem.
BJ, what do you say to that, man? If the electricity goes out and it's just down, say even if the electricity goes out for a couple of months and they say we got to do this here to get it back together, and you have to go to this place and exist over there, would this young generation be able to survive? Eating off the land, producing their own food, their own food, planting gardens, hunting, fishing, whatever they have to do.
Now they're going to use DoorDash.
and hold them up when they get there.
But I think they're smart enough to figure it out that somebody needs to go buy some seeds, and we need to plant some. But when they do it like we did it, probably not. But I think, from what I'm hearing of their mentality, I think they would figure it out. But but the values, man, we talked about the values, like the way, what I feel bad about, when we grew up, and all of us are professionals on the line, and we moved in certain neighborhoods, and I remember growing up. I grew up in Goldsboro, North Carolina, and it was predominantly black city. And we had a black neighborhood, and there was probably like 100 children in our neighborhood. We used to have like things where we had up the hill versus down the hill basketball tournaments in our neighborhood, and our children don't know nothing about that kind of bond of black neighborhood stuff. That's probably the number one thing that, man, I wish they could have that experience, because they would be more in love with each other.
Exactly.
And have more affinity towards another. They came up like that.
Shannon, I gotta ask you as well. Shannon, how do you think they will fare? Would that be okay? Would they be able to survive? And they say, go out there and get some seeds. Now it's gonna take at least about 3 to 4 months for them seeds to produce something from the state of being a seed to when you're able to pull something off that vine. So how they gonna make it, Shannon? Shannon?
She's probably playing
Sorry
seeds.
about that. I'm still here. The thing is that of course we don't want to generalize and put them all in one group. There are some of this, millennials, this group that do have the ability to, make a difference and change some things. But overall, it's like they're gonna have to have some influences. If they're doing it on their own, they're gonna scratch around. It may take them a little longer, and we're not gonna say that they totally don't have something to pull back. Somebody in the group is gonna have to sit down for a second after they done bumped around for a while and went back and forth with each other, who's trying to jockey for what position. But then someone has to sit down and just basically, say, hey, this is what needs to happen. So it's going to take them a little longer because they're coming from a microwave theory. And I remember before people start saying that, my kids know, I've always called their generation that microwave theory. They want to put it in, push the button, and it pops back out. And that's what they expect. And if it doesn't come out that fast, they have a breakdown. They don't know what to do because they don't know how to wait. They don't know what it is to put something in and invest. The investment of time is what they don't have. And so that's what needs to happen. And I don't think they would totally perish, but they are going to be such behind, which is what's happening with them now, regardless to how we say these millennials are doing one of these wonderful things. And they are. But they can't replicate that like our generation can. They can't replicate it.
Exactly. Because I know, man, back in the day we had a garden, man. We go out there in that garden and had to do all kind of stuff to make it work. Keep the bugs off of it and all that stuff. We pull the weeds and all that. Man, we had to work that garden, man. But when it was time to eat, we had plenty of food. We used to get other people in the neighborhood food, man, because they didn't have any.
That's right.
And so
I go fishing today at Kroger.
I went fishing yesterday, man, and caught I got about 10 or 12 fish. I gave them away, but I caught them. You know what I mean? And so and one thing I tell my wife, I said, look at here, if something would have happened, we ain't gonna starve. Long as there's some water somewhere with some fish in it, we ain't gonna starve. I set me a little trap. I just catch me a squirrel or something, man, and because like I say, we gotta eat. We have to eat, man. Because of the fact there's some things going on in the world, it's not gonna stop your appetite. Right? You still gonna want to eat. Talk to me.
Yeah, here's what I'm gonna try to shift this a little bit. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna stop coming down on the young folks, and we have to take responsibility as elders, because I'm gonna be honest with you.
We're not gonna be here forever.
Well, but follow what I'm saying to you. When I was coming up, when I was 19, 20 years old, I went to the St. John's Masonic Lodge. I went to the Elks Club. I sat down at the barbershop with all the old folks, where they imparted the knowledge and gave us the tools that we needed to survive. We as older men, especially men, do not take the time anymore to sit down and school these folks. Like the young man said earlier, the young lady said, they've got all the technical talents and skills in the world, but they're lacking a piece of it that we had. We had the old guys. We used to sit down there, man, and at the barbecue at the Masonic Lodge, drinking that corn liquor or brown liquor, whatever, and we used to talk about all kinds of stuff. When I left there, and then when I did something in the community, all I do is see his car ride by. You know what I mean? I knew I was messing up.
Yeah.
And now we've got to the point where we live in the suburbs. I ain't gonna lie. I live in a nice house. I live in a nice neighborhood. And if I see something, for the most part, I'm gonna say that's not my kid. I'm gonna keep it moving. You know what I mean? We're back in the old days. I would say, yeah, a young man. This is not what we do.
Yeah, back
So
up off
again,
that. Man. Yeah, back up off
yeah,
that.
again, when it gets to it all stems back to the financial part of it. Is that we as a people, we want to keep our success a secret, like it's a mystery. Instead of telling young man, okay, you're making 6 figures today, but this is what you do with the money in order to sustain your family and your lifestyle. Our thing is, son, yeah, I see you making 80 grand a year. That's good money, man. Enjoy your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Instead of sitting down saying, make some future investments, invest in your neighborhood, invest in a
Mhm.
business. We don't do that. So basically, us in our 50s, 60s, whatever, we have failed. We have failed to pass the torch on. And again, I keep saying this. I grew up in Connecticut. The Jewish folks every Friday would sit down with their family and go through these stories about their family and about the Holocaust. They every Friday clockwork, and they still do
Mhm.
it. Every
Mhm.
Friday clockwork, they sit down and they rehash it. So those Jewish people understand where they came from. They
Mhm.
understand where they're going. What we do on Friday night? Baby, here's a pizza. I'm going down to the club. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean?
Exactly.
I mean, that's it. That's my take on
Shannon,
it. So that's our
no, no,
fault.
exactly. Shannon, let's talk. I'm switching around a lot intentionally because I want to cover so much in the little time that we have here. But let's talk about potential. Potential. How much potential do you see in the young generation?
There's a lot of potential because they do have a lot of resources. As the gentleman said, they have a lot of technology. They have a know-how. They have some never scared type of personalities. They just
Mm-hmm.
kind of go and get it done. But the potential is there. It's just, as we are saying, it just needs to be fostered in the right way so that it is going to produce
Mm-hmm.
more to come. It be able to produce. Now they can go and do something quickly and get it done and see some outcomes, but as I said, it needs to be something that they can replicate
Mm-hmm.
and do that because they have lots of potential.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow. BJ, do you see potential?
Oh, absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. I think our future is bright despite what you see with
Mhm.
the violence. I think that you know this generation, they were born to take us to the next level because they're fearless. Um, man, I hate to say this, and they're just not afraid to die either.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they have a lot of courage, but they don't have good guidance, and they need
Mm-hmm.
to be taught right.
Mm-hmm.
And I was telling somebody the other day, I said, man, we got to get to the point, we as adults, that we got to tell them the truth regardless if they like it or not, or
Mm-hmm.
don't worry about somebody gonna pull out a gun and say, nigga, get out of my,
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
out of my face, old man. We
Mm-hmm.
got to be willing to face that.
Mhm.
And they need a father and they need a mother figure
Mm-hmm.
that cares about them and is not frightened of them. And then, these young people can sense you, whether you sincere or not.
Anybody there? All right, anybody there? Yeah, it's been a great conversation. If you need to call in, I really would hope that folks would call in, share their thoughts, and it's a very interesting topic. How much money is too much money, and what is our role into maintaining it and to keep it moving? So again, call in. Numbers at the bottom of the screen. We'd like your input. Let us know what you're thinking and how we can stimulate good conversation and good thought. We definitely want to inform people through feedback and through mind stimulation. We all have the answers. We just need to go ahead and call in and talk. So you're back?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Appreciate it, man. For whatever reason, man, they don't want this conversation to move forward, man. They keep kicking me out and all kind of stuff. But we're gonna keep going. And I appreciate how you kept that going, man. When I in my moments of absence, I definitely appreciate that, man. We got a few more minutes before we end. Who do we have? Do we still have folks on the phone line? Who we have on the phone line with us? Shannon, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, good deal. We having the darndest time today for whatever reason. Must be something with the system, or they just don't want us to talk about this today because I've been kicked out more than I've been kicked out in 4 years today on this particular broadcast right here. I'm not understanding it, but it's okay because we're gonna keep it going and we're not gonna stop until we get to our destination. Now, Shannon, you were saying about potential. You think that they have great potential. You think that they're just misguided.
I would go with what the gentleman said. They need parents. They need parents that unfortunately was, a byproduct of the car era.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of moved out. And some families and parents have checked out. And
Wow.
they checked out during the time for these young people that are needed.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's a point of, not necessarily they're just gone and dealt with, but like the young man said, they need someone who can stand in and step in regardless to what they feel they're going to push back. Because as we know, when people reject something, it's because they know it to be true.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just hard for them to swallow that because they have not been fed it. And see, I'm that one. As I would say, I'm that woman. I will come to your child and let your child know, and I will explain to you because I'm a social worker. So I'm just talking to people that don't want to hear what I have to say. But you have to still continue to come to them and bring it to them because they really want to know it. Most children, most adults, they do want discipline. They do want structure. They just have to get conditioned to understand that it works out to the best.
Absolutely. That's good. That's good. Now we got less than a minute before we get out of here, and I want to go back to the beginning. We're talking about money. Rodney, how much money is enough money? How do you know that you're not getting caught up in that greed element by chasing that bag and you can just relax and enjoy life? At what point do you have to get?
Well, I think it's one is you have to know yourself. I mean, you know your limits, and again, what ends up happening is that when the people around you, your loved ones, the people you confide and trust in, can kind of pull your coattail, so to speak. Because the thing I tell people a lot of times, things get Michael Jackson killed and a lot of other celebrities killed, is that they don't have that accountability partner. Somebody to tell them, hey, look, you've overstepped your bounds. You know what I mean? And so with a lot of money, you start surrounding yourself with people that are yes sir people. So my thing, whenever you stick around people that really love you, and they'll tell you, because if not, it'll be self-destructive. So when you it's like a crack addict or a cocaine addict. Where's bottom? Know when the bottom's there. When you reach the bottom.
Exactly. Exactly. Shannon, what do you say to that, Shannon? Now, how do we know when enough is enough? We've obtained enough. Let's just go and let's just enjoy. Now let's enjoy life. Now let's enjoy the family. Now let's spend time together. I've worked long enough. I've made enough money. Now we can just enjoy life and each other. How do we know when we get to that point?
Well, some people can put a number on it. When you got 3 times or 4 times it, 6 months of it or whatever. But there is a time where you do say, and you would hear a lot of the folks do have money, they'll say, I have enough money
Mm-hmm.
that I can do this. And they're looking at generational time of like years
Mm-hmm.
of money to be able to do that. So you do need to have a number and to know, what that is so that you can do it. So there's a limit. There's a limit. And what everyone has their limit. They have their number of family members or years that they know they cannot have to worry about it.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
So there is one. You don't have to keep chasing it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, it's been a great broadcast. We fought our way through it. We've been here for a little bit over an hour now. We fought our way through the technical difficulties that we had today. Want to apologize to each and every one of you all that tuned in and had to experience the technical difficulties, because typically we do not have those. But today was a different day. It happened. We made it through it. Thank God that we made it through it. And now go to ladies are always first. So I got to go to Shannon. Shannon, what would you like to say in your closing?
I really appreciate being on the panel, and there's so much more to this because we can talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm kind of resolution focused.
Yes.
I look at things from a strength-based, possibilities, and what can we do? What is the next step?
Mm-hmm.
Stirring the pot is good, but you need to know how to, skim it.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do after you done stirred it?
Mm-hmm.
So what are you pulling out of it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
right.
Thank you guys for inviting me.
Hey, thank you for joining us. Definitely appreciate it. I said, look, I told you we was going to do it, didn't I? I tell you, it's just a matter of time.
Right.
The schedule is so, the time is so different, with what you've been on West Coast and us being over here on the East Coast. So it's a little difficult sometimes, but I definitely appreciate you taking the time and hanging out with us today. I hope you had some fun.
Thank you. Yes, I did.
Good deal. Good deal. Rodney?
My take on it is that everybody is an influencer. Influence those in your circles to do the right thing. Be a positive influence.
Mm-hmm.
Children are interesting. They do not listen to what you say. They watch what you do.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, just be available to give guidance and counseling to adults, even young adults, to
Absolutely.
everyone. Just be a role model. And
Mm-hmm.
when the opportunity presents itself, give your 2 cents. That's all it's going to be.
Good
It takes
deal.
one brick to build a wall.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Absolutely. And old saying goes like this: the young folks, they don't care how much you know. They want to know how much you care. Show them that you care. Show them that you care, and be there for them. Even, and don't give up on them. And the bag is good, but the relationships is much better. That's just me talking. I'm silly like that. But anyway, it's been a great broadcast. I want to thank everybody for joining us. And more than that, I want to thank you for allowing DK and Media Group and Associates and the Raheen Ashimi Show for being a part of your evening. It is now 5:51. You're about to exit the Raheen Ashimi Show. But before you go, I want you to do me 2 favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us, because we're certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number 2, why this is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody, and give them a hug, because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. And then we shine some of this light of you from the Raheen Ashimi Show. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in, and let your light so shine. If you get an opportunity, give somebody some love. You just might find some love in return. Won't that be a beautiful thing? Have a great day. Take care of each other, and please, please, please be blessed.